Meanwhile, News 3's Leah Linscheid shares what college students face with this law now enforced.
Michelle, in today's press conference, the GAB outlined a handful of photo IDs that will be accepted at the polls. That includes forms like Wisconsin-issued licenses or passports. Missing from that list, though, were student IDs, and that may leave some college kids without a viable option. On this beautiful day, November 4th, is far from the minds of these college students. But the latest court ruling on Wisconsin's voter ID law might force them to start preparing for the polls a little earlier this election year.
Don't rely entirely on your college ID. We've got 7 weeks to plan this out in advance.
GAB officials say come Election Day, all voters will need to present a valid photo ID before they can cast a ballot.
Best advice to a college student is there are several forms of acceptable ID, many of which college students do have access to.
Wisconsin-issued licenses or passports are considered acceptable, but most student IDs are not.
Yeah, I don't have a Wisconsin ID, so.
Yeah, personally it would probably stop me too, because I also do not have, I only have an Illinois state ID, so that would be a problem.
I think that all of us are really busy, and it's really unlikely that students are going to go and get a Wisconsin ID before voting, so most students just would decide not to vote at all.
UW-Madison says it plans on issuing separate ID cards to its students, free of charge, that would be accepted at the polls.
I think that'd be very helpful just to make the process a little easier and make getting out the vote a lot more accessible to students.
That'll be beneficial to students, definitely.
The move could make all the difference for students who may not have another option readily available.
Everyone would be more likely to vote because everyone gets one, so that'd be more practical.
UW-Madison says it plans on issuing those separate IDs sometime next week, and other UW universities are looking to follow suit as well, Michelle.
Okay, so what do you need? What do you need on your ID in order to vote?
The GAB says your ID needs to have your name and your picture, and it also needs to be current as of November 2012. And you can find more information on what you need to take to the polls on our website, channel3000.com.
All right, good information there. Thank you, Leah.